This is Aikido for Emotions, Module 1, Lesson 3, How the Pieces Fit Together. Now, in this program, in this course, I teach you three processes, three procedures, three exercises. One is called the touch exercise, which connects mind and body. One is called emotional control, which does the heavy lifting towards gaining control over your emotions rather than your emotions having control over you, and the acceptance process. Now, the acceptance process is what allows you to accept yourself as the perfectly imperfect person that you are, unbroken, possessing all the resources you need to do what you need to do. The challenge that, frankly, all of us have, I don't think there are any exceptions to this, is that we don't always accept ourselves for who we are. There's this part that we don't like, or this aspect of ourselves, or why can't I do that better, and so on. Acceptance process is all about letting go of that and being able to accept ourselves the way we are. Now, the process, in order for you to do it, requires that you be comfortable in the presence of an emotion, whatever that emotion may be, the one that's getting in your way. Sometimes that emotion is simply too strong, too intense to be comfortable with. It's reality that when sensations get too strong, when emotions get too strong, and the threshold varies from person to person and time to time, but there is always a point where emotions are simply too intense to handle. When that's the case, then we need to bring in the second process I teach, which is the emotional control process. Now, the emotional control process makes the most intense use of the Anderson model. Remember that the Anderson model holds that the building blocks for the subjective experience we call emotion are the visceral physiological sensations that we feel. The control process allows you to create what amounts to a symbol from those sensations that make up the emotion. Once that symbol has been created, the qualities of that symbol, its size, its shape, its location, its temperature, or whatever, can be varied to bring the intensity of the emotion down so far that you're no longer even aware of it. Now, this is critical for this use of the emotional control process because once you understand, believe, and know that you really do have control over that particular emotion, knowing that you can do that gives you the courage to be comfortable, or at least almost comfortable, in the presence of the full emotion. The control process also allows you to amplify emotions, which we don't usually do with negative emotions, but for the ones that are positive, the ones we call pleasure, oh yes, we amplify those. Now, this is important for situations where we want to shift beliefs or we want to create powerful motivations. It's also fun if people are doing recreational things. Within a couple, it's really powerful to learn how to ramp up the positive emotions of each other. The amplifying the emotion to shift beliefs is the approach that I use in my book, Beyond Good Enough to Drive the Belief Change Process. Now, this is all wonderful, but there are people for whom even the emotional control process will not work. And that's because people have either numbed down all awareness of sensations in their body or they block them off completely. Lots of reasons for it, and we're not really interested in the reasons, but they have blocked off awareness of those visceral sensations that create the emotions to help them reestablish that awareness. And frankly, to help all of us get better at connecting and integrating mind and body, we have the touch exercise. The touch exercise uses really simple, basic touch to create sensations and allow us to be mindful of those sensations. And with practice and repetition, we get better and better and better at all of the steps of the touch process. And that opens up awareness of the visceral sensations in our body. And it opens us up to being able to use the emotional control process. And that is how they fit together. So if you've got someone who is really numbed out, is totally blocked sensations in their body to the point that they're not aware of them, you need to start with the touch process. If you've got someone who's past that and aware of the sensations in their body, typically I start with emotional control. If they're very aware, that part can go very quickly and we'll get to the acceptance. If they're dealing with really powerful emotions, we go through emotional control and then step into acceptance. So that's it for this lesson, and that's it for Module 1. Next, we have Module 2, where I start teaching you the actual processes. See you then.